This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of Mayor and Council order. Would everyone please rise for the pledge and invocation? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Our dear kind Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight. We ask you to please bless Jared's family with the loss of his mother-in-law. Bless them and keep them. Let them know that you're on their side and you're there to help them in time of need. Lord, we thank you for the nice rain that we had yesterday to help ease the drought. As we go into this meeting tonight, please guide us in a godly manner that we make the right decisions, not only for us and the people of this great town of Bensburg. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. I would like to call the council here. Council, I would like to request an addition to the agenda to add a resolution appointment of municipal infraction enforcement officer to later on under new business. Could I have a motion to put that on for discussion and hopefully approval?
I'll make a motion to add resolution 2023-03.
I'll second. We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Abstained. Motion carries. Thank you. Review and approval of meeting minutes, drafts, regular meeting on August 14th, 2023, and workshop meeting of August 28th, 2023. Does everybody have a chance to review?
Yes, and I already got my little,
I made a couple. Corrections for Tim.
spelling corrections.
I'll make a motion to approve approve the minutes with the corrections. I'll
Okay.
second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as corrected. Any discussion, questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Abstained. Motion carries.
I abstain. I wasn't.
Okay, one abstention. Okay, treasurer's report.
Okay, so let me just read a little disclaimer from our clerk. He said that he's having a problem right now and we're trying to figure it out, but the restricted funds are showing $1 million more and the general fund is showing $1 million less. He's working with the accountants and,
That's in the general ledger.
yeah.
Because we had it split between the funds.
Yeah, so he said that moving forward, they're making some recommendations that they might even want to separate it out, but we're not there yet.
But it's not the thing.
No, it's not. The money's there, it's just showing different amounts. So I'll just make that disclaimer before I go forward. So in the general fund, we have a closing balance of $2,714,000. Man, I should make this bigger, $303.94. In the water fund, we have a closing balance of $702,447.03. And the sewer fund has a closing balance of $141,150.62. The CDs that we have are all for the general fund. At the end of the month, we have a total balance of investment of $2,242,975.70. And in our other funds under the restricted, these are where the amounts are correct. The restricted money market account with Middletown Valley Bank is $2,795,103.19. The American Rescue Plans Act funds are $3,038,209.12. Water fund still has a money market account, user fees account with $186,255.86, and the sewer fund still has a user fees money market account with a balance of $101,032.05. And that should be everything that we have.
Good, thank you, Tony. We have a motion to accept the treasurer's report. So moved.
Well, I'm not going to, because I didn't get to look at my position.
Ray already made it. Beat you to it, Terry. Ray made the motion. We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Questions?
I do have a question because we tabled the July report last month, so I guess we're just gonna not do a July one. Yeah.
So
We remember, at least that's what the minutes said.
Yeah,
that includes
Because we
everything
had some
from July
issues,
now,
so
too.
do we have to do anything for July, or we just do in August and have it
You
for July?
included all that in this report. didn't you?
Well, everything was moved forward from that.
Forward, it's all up to date.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained?
Abstain.
Motion carries with one abstention. Ladies and gentlemen, council members and people in the audience, it gives me my great pleasure to introduce our new town planner. This is Andrew, better known as Drew Bowen. Welcome, Drew. Glad to have you. Glad to- It's late.
Happy to be here. Happy to be here.
Any other comments you'd like to give?
First thing, Jared asked me to dive into was the capacity of the plants. So I've been working with both Pete and Jesse. They've been great. They got me 5 years worth of data. We know where we are with existing. Now we're going through the annexation agreements. And I want to tie all that stuff together and find all the supporting documents, and all of that stuff before we give final numbers. But I think you're in good shape. You have the reservoir issue. That's not unknown to anybody. That's going to solve a lot of problems in and of itself. We may have to apply for some permits, but I think you're overall, correct me if I'm wrong, you're sitting in pretty good shape. And you got some things to take care of. And we really need on the permitting side and on the planning side, we need to get those records upstairs all clear and straight. And Jared told me, do what you need to do, get the documents, make sure that we have all the right things. So I'm going to be going through all the annexation agreements, making sure I have them all, making sure I understand what the conditions are. Because I know a lot of these were written a long time ago, before my time and before some others' time. So I want to make sure that if we all have questions, I can answer them. Because right now where is it? It's here, but I don't know where it is. So just working on that right now and dealing with some of the issues around town. I've had some of your more colorful residents. So far, so good. So all is good. Happy to be here.
Welcome. We don't have anybody signed up for public comments, so I'm public person we have. You're good?
Good.
Okay, sir. Thank you for coming. We can always depend on you.
Thanks.
Okay, facilities reports. Public Works, great. What you got?
Okay, let's start with the community center. I guess sometime ago, you guys approved the composting bin to put down there. The green composting bin.
Yeah.
I keep getting multiple complaints. Beecher Way just called me today at 6 o'clock on my way in. It smells like a dying bin coming out of that.
What did I say?
Yep.
If any of you guys would like to, when you guys leave here tonight, just drive down, get out of your car. Any of you guys walk towards the bin.
I know, I smelled it from my.
It's absolutely horrendous. I was in there this morning cleaning the community center and I was getting it. It's pushed way away from the community center. It's just not a spot for it. So I don't know what you guys want to do.
Nobody ever listens to Chief.
Why don't they? I mean, yeah, that is a
We knew that.
Yeah, we give them a chance, totally.
Yeah, we gave them a chance. Where you have
Do you have any
Yeah.
idea?
plenty of
The
ground?
only place you could put it would be out there at the mall, but then you don't get to open on Saturdays.
Right.
Yeah.
We told them it's a trial, if it stinks, we're not doing it.
It's very bad.
You know,
It's horrible. And I
Yeah, it's
got pretty good stuff.
Do
in
you
the house there.
wanna, I mean, it has been really, really hot. Do we wanna try to see if the stench goes down?
It'll stink next
some?
spring.
But.
It'll just be back again when it gets hot.
Is that your only other option, would be out at the yard site?
Yeah, there's anywhere else you could put it to keep it
No,
from the rest of
it's
it.
gonna go out there.
And that way you'll make a special trip out there, and that's why
That's why it's here.
they're worried about people walking too, they don't want, people to make a drive out there, that's why they wanted to park in the first.
Well, we did make it a trial run.
We gave it a trial run.
Exactly.
You guys should stop down there and leave here.
I would.
I use it and it does smell when you lift the lid up. I mean, I never noticed it with the lid down, but it
I didn't
does.
even make it out of my truck. I'm like, wait, I was looking for a dead groundhog somewhere.
It's something it's something animals that I put in there before I.
It's got meat in there. It's got
Well, they said
eggs.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm surprised the bear hadn't got.
Somebody from Beecher Place will be contacted, probably Jared. They just called me at 6 o'clock when Wayne was coming in. I told them, I said, best thing you do is just talk to the town manager.
And we gotta pay, the town gotta pay to have that septic.
It's coming out of
Out of
their,
environmental.
The commission funding it.
It's still steps, you're right.
Terry, aren't you on that commission? Let's make a ask them to make a recommendation.
We need a motion.
to what,
Get rid of it.
Say the trial.
that we're recommending. to
We're
get rid of?
recommending to get rid of it. Well, let's make it official. Do I have a
I have a
motion?
motion that we terminate the trial period of the composting bin due to Greg's outstanding olfactory skills.
Due to complaints.
Due to complaints, yeah.
Okay,
Do I have a
that's fine.
second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, the same, abstained, motion carries. When do you all meet again, Terry?
Well, she just canceled last week, so.
Okay, so next month? Yeah.
3 more weeks.
Okay. Anything else, Greg?
Yes, and next we'll go with the 2 events. The food truck event went over pretty good. We had one incident down there. A lady spilled a whole bunch of grease on the ground. She came down, she tried to clean it up, she can't get it up. So we're gonna have to get it up when I get a chance, and we're just gonna have to charge for time and material. I hope right. Same thing. And then Boonesborough Days, we had a lady, it's on video, she has it out there, a lady drove through the park. Now get it, her tent's right behind the bathroom, and she drove all the way through the park with an enclosed trailer, hit that pavilion and knocked it over. She did, I mean, she rocked it pretty good.
Yeah.
When we got there, it was twisted sideways, so we went ahead and helped.
Yeah.
So it didn't hurt anybody.
And how much was that thing from Corona?
$17,000.
$17,000 to replace?
Insurance adjuster's coming tomorrow.
Yes, good.
He'll be there.
Once you just have him going down to the office and we can make him a copy and put it on a flash drive and he can have it for his records.
Okay.
Oh, that's
Come in. If I can go with Jared, it's gonna be.
We just go ahead and give that to him and be done.
I knew there'd need to be a report.
Yeah, and it'll be done that way.
Okay.
Good.
And everything on the sewer, the side, the collection side's good. The water distribution side, we're having some major problems out in Crestview.
Okay.
Like that development is a ticking time bomb. The pressure. It's the pressure and it's the air. You guys can pass this around, look at it. This is what the doing to the bolts. So we spent 2 days out there changing out valves, just switching out valves. I mean, we're probably over 10 grand. We'll have one extra beer by the time it's done. I still haven't had the blacktop yet. If it ain't the pressure blowing out the gaskets, it's the ground eating the bolts up. And the problem is the newer valves that were put in the 90s, I'm going to inspect it, but I guess Bobby inspected the 90s valves we can fix. There's some of them that are stamped 1988. They don't have parts for them. So we got completely ripped, 88 was the development, wasn't even built.
The first house, it was 94.
Yep, so there's somebody got them old valves doing it now,
Well, there was an older.
We're in trouble.
Okay.
it's right beside the house. So we're having to pull them valves completely out and put all new valves.
We already know that with the reservoir coming, that we have to do that bypass because it's gonna increase the pressure.
If we do get some infrastructure money, we need to have a company come in, a contractor come in, dig all these up and change all them bolts out. It would take me all summer to do it, I'm gonna do it, it's only had 4 guys. I just can't if we can do it, get nothing else done. That's gonna be your best bet, is to have somebody come in and dig all them up. Every single intersection has a cluster of 3 or 4 valves. Yeah. I mean, Devil Lane was built in the 70s, it's in better shape than Crestview.
The older part of it.
But you have to sit.
It's not just y'all.
Yeah.
We had over 330 valves in Middletown we had to do. We're still doing.
Wow.
Because they were all installed in that time period where they did not use stainless steel bolts and the bonnets are blowing off.
Yep.
And you've got to go in and replace them because of the alkalinity that's in the soil that's out there. There was a class action lawsuit that was filed, but the statute of limitations run out.
That's fire.
So that's what, because, I mean, it's bad for you all, bad for Middletown, but Frederick City, I think, had over 2,000 of them.
Wow.
And they actually had to hire contractors at multiple millions of dollars. And of course, the outages that start happening when you start shutting off these areas to fix the valves is a real nightmare to kind of coordinate. So you're not alone. You're not alone. You're aware of it. That's great. So.
We got 2 more to do. I'm gonna put door hangers up, then we'll probably Thursday.
You gotta shut my door off for it.
I'm shutting, no, this second will go right before you, so you'll still have water.
Let it go for a couple
So
days.
do we need
So,
to,
well, should we do a motion to put it out to bid?
that's what I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
just have somebody come in and look
I
at it.
mean, why can't we just go ahead and do that?
We can. but,
The BMC is waiting for.
yeah, the BMUC should, come back. and take-
I'll bring Wednesday night. I'll bring it.
We
Yeah,
meet
we got
Wednesday,
meeting
so,
Wednesday
yeah,
night.
let's,
Bring it up at BMC. I don't want to go over their head.
no, I mean, I know what their opinion's gonna be.
Yeah.
They're going to tell us it's back.
Well, there's a few things Greg and I need to talk about first before we move forward with some of this, because there's a few options. Funding is obviously gonna be one
Yeah.
of the main issues, because I have a feeling it's gonna get expensive. And I have an idea that we may be able to do, with some funding we currently have that, well, we'll see, but let us talk first. And then we'll-
We're putting out for RFP, doesn't mean we're buying it.
Right. you probably need to-
Just need to get it priced.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll bring it up to the BMUC, and then we'll get back to the.
Trevor Drew, is there something particular about the, I think out the enemy side, but is there something about the region and the soil around here that is making this, accelerating this?
And it only happened, in my experience, it's only happened to American Darwin valves and fire hydrants. We have since taken them out of respects. Everything's Mueller now. All our fire hydrants, everything's Mueller.
It's primarily the soils and the limestone. That's what generates it. It doesn't help that people ground to their water lines.
Yeah.
The electric going through it doesn't help either, but that's not the primary concern. It's mostly the alkalinity of the soil.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. You stick your hand down there, so when they ground it, it'll shock the hell out of you. We got a jumper that you stick on each side, it actually jumps it around so you can mess with the meter.
Anything else, Greg?
There's, that's it.
Sir, any other questions for Greg? Ready for this winter?
I am. Oh, one more thing, Mr. Kitchen, I have not done a walkthrough yet. I will get to this month. I'll let you know. We've been too busy messing with these valves, and I was on vacation for a week,
Up and down town, so.
so I'll get with you. We'll go ahead and do it.
Okay, wastewater, water and sewer superintendent, Pete?
All right, well, we're still doing pretty good. I don't need any money quite yet. I'll find out tomorrow if I need some though. But, we, are doing a little bit of water side, everything runs through, so, sewer side will run really smooth too. We started Depot Creek, about 3 weeks ago out there for the press at the sewer plant. They done tapped into the digesters already, done drilled them out, put the new pipe into them, and got it out, stubbed it off, and they're gonna run the line down to where they got the footer already dug for the new press building. So they'll be pouring that, and start building that here soon. They already ran the potable water line down most of the way. Me and Greg was out there the last 2 weeks ago, trying to pinpoint to where the existing water line that they have down in there, where they hook into it. We don't know exactly where it was stuck off that, they never marked it or showed it in the plan, so. But we pretty much found where at the end of the list one. And yeah, they're moving on pretty good out there, and should see some building actually starting to work in a couple weeks, so.
They run ahead of schedule,
I would say they're ahead of schedule, where they need to be.
right on time. Good. That sounds good. Let's hope we get that under roof before the bad weather comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just had one question, because I wasn't at the last meeting, but you said that the effluent meter needs to be replaced for $3,600.
That's already in the works, it's coming this week to get that in.
Okay.
So I just wanted to, I'll tell you guys when I'll get some stuff that. So.
Good job. Any other questions? Thank you, sir. Drew, town planners report?
I did send out a draft agenda for the chairman to take a look at. He's taking a look at that. One of the primary items on there is something that was discussed in my job interviews, and that was to get the comprehensive plan moving and get that updated. So I did place on the agenda, and it has been approved by the chairman to identify goals and a schedule. At some point, I'm probably going to be coming back asking for maybe some 1 or 2 meetings between the council and the planning commission. I've talked to Jared about this because the comp plan is a very big plan. It's a very important plan. It takes time. There's a lot of public hearing that goes through it, and yours hasn't been done in a while. So it's gonna take a little bit of time, but we need to get moving on it. The sooner we get moving on it, the better. Start with goals, but before we start really working on the plan, I think it's very, very important. And Jared voiced the exact same concern to me. We want to make sure the town council and the planning commission are all working towards the same goal. We don't want to have one thinking it's this way, one thinking it's this way. We do 20 months of all this, multiple public hearings, like, wait a second, this is not what we're talking about. So we want to make sure that the powers that be want to tell us what direction to go in, and then we'll go from there.
Absolutely.
So-
Might want to also include in planning commission meeting with the utilities commission. We used to have a yearly meeting jointly between the two groups just to keep on the same page of what's going on.
I do also have a meeting with Austin Abrams in Keedysville on Wednesday morning. I wanted to get their planning numbers because it ties to our comprehensive plan because of water. And I want to get where his numbers are, what they think that they need. They don't really need that much, they don't think, for future planning. But I want to understand where Austin's numbers are coming from, providing the UMBC. And I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. We're all calculating things the exact same way. So we're just going to sit down, we're going to go through his calculations. I've downloaded and have some information for Austin from the MDE website as to how to calculate capacities. It's how MDE does it, which they're the ones that regulate us, so they're kind of ones that matter. And I also want to make sure that we're addressing or we're aware of what Keedysville's desires and needs are.
There's our minimal.
They're very minimal. 63 taps for the next 23 years is all they want. And that's fine. That's fine. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page and how we get there. And that way it's just easier going forward. So focused on capacities, comp plans, and taking care of the regular calls and permits that are coming.
Can you tell us what's happening with the post office? I'm getting so many questions about all the building things going on and I don't know what to tell anybody.
From Jared, asked me to attend a meeting, I think tomorrow at 11:30 with the town's attorney and an engineer to get that thing moving. I can tell you that I did meet with the county. The county will issue a temporary UNO even if the road's not done. They will do that. So you can do that. They do have to make some modifications to the stormwater management pond to make sure that it's functional and it doesn't flood or overspill the bounds. But if that's done, the actual work that has to be done there that he's not following, that they kind of walked away from, that can also be temporarily approved. But we've also got to have a plan as to when does that happen. And that's one of the reasons, my understanding is what Jared told me was the meeting tomorrow. So we're gonna find out what he is, what the legal implications are. But I have found out from the county side, you can get an occupancy permit and get it open. The issue is gonna be the car flow down there. Where the road ends right now, you can't drive through the post office because it's got a 1-lane road on the backside by the stormwater management pond. So there might have to be a temporary road. There's a lot up in the air on that.
So the
That's why we're
post
having
office
to-
people are still planning on going out
To my knowledge, but I have not spoken with any of those individuals.
Yeah, I can update you a little bit. We met, the mayor and I met, Greg, met with the new owners and their contractors last week or 2 weeks ago. They are itching to get this thing open. And they are actually going to do everything that Greg inspected and told the last owners that was no good. So we're pretty good as far as, we're in agreement with him as far as what the work needs to be done. The only thing that I'm not 100% sure of yet, we meet with Ann tomorrow about the bond and how we're gonna deal with that, because like Drew was talking about, the road that's back there is not their responsibility. It's whoever has the bond money's responsibility, whether that's us or the bond company. But we don't want to just put anything into that right now because there's infrastructure that has to run underneath that. We don't want to have to tear it back up again, just to let them dry down for a little while. So we're trying to, tomorrow we should hopefully have some more answers as far as what we're going to do with the bond, if we can pull the full amount back, we as a town can start working on some of that, stormwater issues and infrastructure issues. But until I know that, I don't really exactly know how.
So to be 100% clear, the Easter Days own the property.
No,
No,
they sold the
they
property.
sold the post office.
That was recent.
Okay, so where the new owners are, they own everything?
No.
Just the post office lot.
Okay.
Developed Nick.
So somebody now owns the Easter Day property, not the Easter Day.
Just the post office?
Just the post office
That's what I'm
lot.
asking.
Yeah,
Easter Day
just
still
that
own
lot.
That's what I said. So Easter Day still own their property except for the post office.
Yeah,
So now we're dealing with the Easter Days on their property. Now we're dealing with the new owners of the post office and their engineer.
They're willing to work.
Is that-
They're
Yeah,
there.
their engineer.
Okay, so the new owners of the post office, their engineer.
That's my understanding.
Okay, I just want to be clear on where we are.
I'll find out tomorrow at 11:30.
Okay, And then it would be really, really helpful if we all knew what the outcome of that.
We already met with Greg and Jared and I with the new people's engineer, and they're willing to get started, and they want to get started and get it done so they can get the post office in as soon as possible.
Well, it's October, their plan's October. Isn't it?
Yeah, sometime in October, that's what they want to do.
Well, there was equipment out there today, you know.
Yeah, they've been out there working. They're working, haven't they, Greg?
Yes.
So the new people's out there trying to get.
You know, like, they was out there today.
So,
Worst part will be stormwater pond.
Yeah.
Everything else is easy, but that stormwater pond is
It's the holding ground where it looks phenomenal like.
yeah, it's pretty bad.
they didn't do a very good job.
Huh.
No.
I'll update them tomorrow.
Hopefully, yeah, hopefully everything goes good.
And is any of that land out there in foreclosure or anything right now?
None that I'm aware
None
of.
of that we're aware of.
Well, what's it, they just have an auction out there?
It didn't go
It didn't
through.
happen.
It didn't
The
have.
auction didn't go
Okay.
through, somebody bailed them out.
Okay.
That's what we were told, they were bailed out.
The auction off the whole parcel, right, everything?
Everything in the residential section was up for sale.
They didn't go through.
And it didn't go through, somebody bailed them out. Somebody, a private lender lent them the money to bail them out. That's what we've heard. And the only way we found out about it is the staff kept getting all the phone calls, asking questions about the Easterday property that was going up to auction at the courthouse on Thursday. And we didn't know anything about it until we got all the phone calls from these developers asking, these builders asking questions.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how we found out about it. And then we found out 45 minutes to an hour before it was supposed to happen that it was canceled.
Yeah. So for back taxes, it wasn't going just a.
We have no idea.
Is
Right,
Dunkin'
right.
Donuts or Pie still on the,
Dunkin' Donuts.
are they still lingering on?
The last we heard, they're waiting for the road to get in. Once that road can get in, because the engineer for Draper is the engineer for Dunkin' Donuts too. They're waiting for the road. Once the road gets in, they can get started. As far as highs, we can't get highs to return in their calls, so they're still on hold. But they own their piece of ground. They bought theirs. So that's theirs.
And then what about out here where Jockeys used to be? Because I saw where they had dug and now it's covered up because of the sewer, I think, or something maybe.
I don't even know where you're referring to.
Called
Sorry.
the auction house.
It's a new restaurant called.
Brandon.
Brandon.
The Future Brewery. Okay.
Do you know what
They were doing, I saw them digging something in the front, but I didn't know
It's
what.
not the sewer, the sewer's out back. They're trying to get a temporary permit to use their septic tank out back through the county. They were supposed to come to the last BMUC meeting to talk to everybody at the BMUC meeting, never showed up. That's Petrie is the owner, the wife, the mother and the son were supposed to come and ask the BMUC, and I gave BMUC a little report, and they never showed up. So they must be banking on the county giving them a.
The restaurant is slated to open in 2 weeks. The Brandon is slated to open in 2 weeks.
But just to follow up on that, that's in my report, that the auction house owners met with Quarterman and Washington County and the owners about a hookup. It was determined that they can't hook up through Dollar General, correct?
That couldn't handle that kind of flow.
And that they have to come up with a different idea. They're talking about some temporary solution that was being discussed. I don't know what that was. Okay, so that's what they were, okay. But that probably a long-term solution is gonna be another pump station in the area, which, again, I'm not in the last meeting or so I'm just reading from what I got in minutes, so. That's all I have.
Anything else? Pete? You done? Okay.
Jared.
Jared, town manager.
All right, so real quickly, I know, because this was asked at the last meeting, I just wanted to pass a couple of these down. This is just a sample of one of the program funding charts. This one's for the clean watering project. Sorry, I printed out a little small, so if you guys need it bigger, I can pen it electronically. I know, I'm sorry. It looked bigger on my computer before I did it. I'll just let it right here. So basically what I'm doing here is, as you can see, well, maybe you can see, I don't know if you can or not, but the left-hand side is the contractor and the contract amount next to it. This is for everything that is going on at this particular project, mostly watering project. Engineering costs, contract costs, which is HRI, the press purchase itself, purchase of the actual physical press, and the tractor purchase that we purchased for work to be done there. And then above that, right to the right of that, you see that it's listed what the KIP budget category, and underneath that is what's been spent so far out of that budget amount. If you go over, it's all the way to the right, these are the sources of funding for the project. So in that category is each source of funding, and underneath that is what has been spent out of that source so far. And then the balances are there at the bottom. And you can see we've requested 3 reimbursement requests so far at ARC. That's the bottom left. So this is a living document. It gets updated every time we get an invoice in. This is up to date as of last week. I haven't received any other invoices yet. So it's got the contract balances, the total project amount, which is over there in the subtotal to the left-hand column. And then the percentage of the total contract complete there. So you can see like we already purchased the full tractor, it's 100% done. It's in the tractor budget category, and you can see we split up that cost between the ARC funding and Rural Maryland Corporation.
Okay.
So this is every grant funding. Basically what I'm trying to do is that each major project will have its own budget chart. And then the toughest part is really figuring out all the funding that's going into each one, because it's a little convoluted. And so I'm trying to gather all that together and put it all together for each project. So eventually, very soon, each project will have its own chart.
Good job. This is very nice. Hopeful too.
Yeah, it helps me a lot.
Anything else?
Yeah, any questions on that from anybody? No, okay. Just real quickly, I met with DHCD Thursday or Friday last week, I can't remember exactly. Department of Housing and Community.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry.
I don't mind acronyms.
There's a lot, I know. Yeah, Department of Housing and Community Development, it's their Main Street, Maryland affiliation. The Economic Development Commission had been trying for a while to become a Main Street community, designated Main Street community. We met with them and walked them around town, kind of told them some of our plans. And it sounds to me like probably the best thing for us to do right now is to become a Main Street affiliate. And basically what that is we still are designated with the state. But the application process is easier, and there's not so many demands. There's a lot of demands to be an actual Main Street community. You have to have a designated Main Street manager. You really should have a nonprofit that's helping. You don't have to, but you should. We don't have our nonprofit up and running yet. And so there's just a lot of and there's a lot of goals that have to be met if you're Main Street. The affiliate is a little less of a process, but you still get a lot of the benefits. There are grants that open up that we will help you with in the Main Street and downtown community, a lot of which are very nice grants that they're talking to us about that I think we should definitely try to utilize. So I'm going to work with the Economic Development Commission and some people in town who are not to project, maybe not true. To get this application kind of started and go, because I'd like to do that sooner rather than later.
So your town line is just gonna end up being.
Yes, yep. And eventually I'd like a lot of the Main Street, there's a lot, you have to have a committee, for instance, together for specific to Main Street. We will have to have a Main Street manager eventually.
That full-time there?
And to be a community, full-time designated community. Now, I could call anybody or refer to the Main Street manager. But that would have to be their role. There's certain things that they have to do.
Isn't that what Donnie Stottlemyre is for Main Street?
Yes.
Yes.
Main Street. Are they a community or?
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
He is, he's the Main Street.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be working on that here. soon. And then lastly, just as a quick, because we talked about this at one of the last meetings, the EV chargers are set to be installed very soon, next couple of weeks. The construction's gonna start over by the
Boy
the
Scouts.
Boy Scouts, Boy Scout pavilion. Yes.
Good.
Yeah. And it actually turned out to be a great spot. It worked out well for everybody. So that construction should be starting this month at some point. It shouldn't
We've
take
been telling them we're giving you your EV charger, but we're taking your compost in.
Yeah,
There you go.
Maybe
There you
that'll
go.
easy.
Maybe the cars on the compost will be all set.
You could put it over there because
You could put it back, in there. How would the people get there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would,
You need a road for that.
Maybe with the road count.
Yeah.
But it still would stink for people.
Anybody have any questions for Jared?
Oh, where are we at on the, up by the school, the light and all that?
J6. So we met with the developer a couple of weeks ago as well, the mayor and myself. So they're ready to move on their section, the north-south project. The intersection itself is still with SHA being approved because they had some changes that needed to be made for their engineer. And to my knowledge, I believe they said they did those, or at least they were working on it. We submitted back to SHA for approval again. And then as far as the south side of the project, the two major issues there are the stormwater pond and some issues with the reforestation that needs to happen. That's something that Drew and I will have to work with the county on because I have a few questions as far as the tree planting compared to our MS4 permitting and how that might affect the two, because we don't think we can double dip into those two. We don't want to plant the trees for the community, but then we can screw that part. So we're gonna work with the county on that this week. But as far as construction, maybe or 100% engineering may be happening very soon. Construction, probably shortly after that. Just that section. Just their section to the north.
And the plan is get Chase 6 done over, and then next spring in June, since schools are, they'll do that side. And everything will be ready to go for next school year. But the holdup right now is the traffic signal for the state highway, getting them, once they get their final approval into it. We've already got a hold of Scott McGilway.
Is he still on board?
He's still on board. He's getting in contact with Draper about what he wants built there. Once we get the final approval from State Highway at the intersection, we can get our MOU drawn up. And then our next step after the MOU is accepted, we gotta change the zoning of the school lot that we're moving over to residential commercial instead of from whatever the zoning is for school property. So we'll have to have a public hearing for that, and I can't foresee any reason why there would be any opposition if it is. Somebody out there got a thorn in their side. It must not be, won't be a resident to live out there because they want it bad. So because they think it's going to slow the traffic down. It probably will with that stoplight. Yeah. So it seems like it's going.
I think it's going to cut traffic down by a quarter coming down to.
I think so too. Because everything makes right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. And it's going to be handy for the school board too with the school buses. This way they'll be able to go straight. One bus will have to go down and make a sharp turn. And that's the one that they have to leave out in that first block.
Are there any updates on sidewalks?
Yeah.
Sorry, I got so many questions.
No,
We just got, we've had meetings with these people, let everyone use that.
Yeah, so I actually met with them as well, the engineer working on that feasibility study just yesterday. They had a few questions for me of some information that I have to gather to give to them, but to be honest, they're pretty much, once I give them this information, I mean, they're at 60% complete that feasibility study, but really they can get up to 90% It's just a matter of getting some right-of-way issues, really, is what's going on. But once that feasibility study is completed, we will work with SHA to get some funding for construction engineering and construction itself. Get started. Once the feasibility study is completely done, I'll obviously bring it to you guys to look at it. See what's there.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay.
So I have two questions since Terry's done. Where do we stand with the people who came in and talked about St. Paul Street? Was it 50 St. Paul at the top and then the motorhome? I know they've been notified.
Bring some of that up.
You're gonna talk about that? Okay.
No,
So make sure we get updated.
Well, the people in the motorhome did get a letter
Okay,
from Jared, and they're to be out by the 25th, I believe.
okay, so they still have time to comply with that.
I did take a look out there, still daylight on the end, and I think it's still sitting there, but it looked like it might have been moved behind a little building or something. I didn't get a clear look up there, but anyway.
Well, we may soon have another update on that, because I believe they called us today. Drew, I don't know if you have any updates on that or.
I don't, I called back and left a message, but they did call in today and I think they were looking for an extension. And, as far as I'm concerned, from what I've heard from everybody else, unless there's a really good reason that's gonna solve the problem, make it go away,
Yeah, they
It needs
were
to go
given
away.
grace before they got served.
Yeah.
Right.
What about 50 St. Paul Street?
This, I was gonna talk about that a little bit too, but as far as Fifth Day, the house itself, the existing house, they had been sent a letter about mowing grass, they've been complying. They also been notified about the trash. There's a dumpster up there, and I ride by nearly every day and take a look. I mean, it looks fairly decent, but they're not really making any progress on the house, see, but that's not part of what we're worried about. But I'll talk about the other 4 additional homes a little bit later.
Okay.
Sounds good. Anything else? Chief?
Alrighty, we had 112 calls for service, 155 traffic stops, 1 parking citation, and 2 arrests. One was from a traffic stop, a warrant for the county, and the other was a DWI arrest. And myself and Officer Ballesteros and Moretti, we did the National Night Ag, and then our office was here on the 5th for Mr. Porter up here in the square, and then I attended the mayor and council town hall meeting in the work truck last month. Can I say anything about the food truck thing? Even though it's supposed to be the next month again, the beer garden. I didn't come in until 3 o'clock that day. We had 2 people working daylight. Is there somebody when that's going on tomorrow, how much people drinking? Because I dealt with one that was very intoxicated. We tried to get in a car and drive, and there was a couple of them staggering around in the park that was pretty drunk. And is there somebody in that beer garden that monitored how much they drink? Or
We checked all IDs and there was 2 people that we actually ejected. And 1 person, we actually had Dana's husband drive home.
So there is somebody monitoring?
Yeah, because we had
future.
some guys just over the top.
Yeah.
So we're pissing people off, and so it was time to go.
Okay.
So we made sure they got home okay. Nobody got drive.
Okay. That's what I want, because I wasn't there, and like I said, I seen a couple in the park, and then one of them was, I mean, he was just, and he was from Middletown. Just highly intoxicated, tried to get in the car and drive, and the fire police actually stopped him and called us and said, he's trying to get the car and drive, and make for a walk. Matter of fact, he felt he only had to call an ambulance for him. So, and that's why I was asking, if somebody in there actually monitored, cut people off.
Do you know how many heat casualties we had? I know we had at least 4 drunk fell over, and we had a couple fall out and need the ambulance. So like
There were 4 heat related calls that went in.
And
One.
It's not a good look. It's not a good look for the town.
No.
Luckily, the ambulance company had 2 ambulances down there on standby.
Well, I mean, it was a hot day and people get to drink, so they drink water, drink beer, and it doesn't help. But my concern is them getting intoxicated at a town type function.
Yeah.
And then something happened, and you didn't have anybody there to monitor, that was my concern.
That's taken into account with the EDC when we even plan that. So that's already written in.
The 2 bartenders are TAM certified and they should know when to cut them off. unless somebody else was coming up and getting it and give it to them.
There should
Well,
be
you
that,
can't
the
control
beer
everything
guys,
else.
That, you know.
yeah, the girls serving the beer, okay, but the moonshine, I don't know if they are or not.
I don't know
The
where
ones
they're,
serving the
I don't know
moonshine
where they
cocktail.
are or not. Yeah.
You might want to bring that up.
Yeah, might want to bring that up.
I didn't think about
I
moonshine.
don't know where they're certified either through TAM.
Every well-planned event always has one or two.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Well, yeah,
But
I'm
you
just
still
trying to-
need to be,
Yeah.
I mean, you want the reputation of the town, you
Yeah.
want the safety of the citizens. I mean, it's a huge responsibility.
Perfect storm, you got alcohol, alcohol, and traffic flow. It's right there.
Thank you, Chief. Anybody else have any questions of the Chief? Anybody have any mayor and council correspondence?
Well, I'll bring up, that Trinity Lutheran Church is going to do the dedication of
Sunday.
Yes, at 10:15, church service is at 10:15, and you're all expected to be there. You will be there. And it's gonna be part of the service, so it's not like I can tell you to be there at 10:15, and they're gonna do the dedication, and y'all can just run out, which would be kind of rude anyway, so it's an hour. You don't need to wear a suit and tie. I would prefer that y'all wear some type of a town shirt if you're planning on attending, so that you can be introduced.
Any other correspondence?
Yeah,
Yes,
the other day, 7:30, I went to Ramada for that Costa, the Costa presentation, and she asked me to give these, you could put some of these in your officers' cars, please. Because they're not gonna just come to the police station and say I'm abused.
Well,
You're
sometimes
gonna
they
get a
do.
phone call probably.
Yeah.
So if you could just give these, and just ask them to put some in their, ask them to put some in there. But it was a very nice presentation. John Barr was there and a couple of the other commissioners. So it was very nice. They're gonna do it again, I guess. So if you could pass them along, I'd appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay, two things, so the Boonesboro Museum of History, has a request, Chuck, when we look at it in the night, there's a sign there, whatever, the right side, the alley there, old sign, says it's a no trucks entering, and it's basically, it's deteriorating, I don't even know if it's even an active sign, I can't even read it.
My boss.
Yeah.
Rhyming.
Yeah, so they would like to know if that's something we still need to be relocated because they're trying to put, they want to put the new Boonesboro flag or the old Boonesboro flag. They're displaying flags now, and it's just unsightly and not there. I don't think it's been touched. It's, you can barely see it, so it may not even be an active sign.
Do you want trucks to go there?
It might have been there from the
If they
first
come,
time
they're
they
not
were
gonna-
getting
not gonna
deliveries.
do that.
and-
Relocate. Yeah, take a look, yeah, please.
It's a pretty tight street.
Highway side or Center Street side?
Oh, that's great.
No, it's just right off the.
It's in
I think
between.
it's on Brian, it doesn't call it.
Yeah, it's on the little alley.
Yeah, I think it's right.
It's in
The House Museum, the house, right there, there's a little alley. and I don't- So if you take a look at it.
Let's not bring it up first.
It's pretty narrow.
If they do, they aren't going to see that sign.
Yeah.
So because of that and because of the flag, and speaking of the flag, the museum is displaying flag. They got some of the old flags, copies made. They're $90 a piece. Wow. Flag, because they only got 12 of them. They need like hundreds to bring the price down. So they're displaying a copy of that flag, which is kind of interesting. They also got stickers made. I sent you all just a picture of it. And it's a little old. I think Gibson Boonesboro and the museum have some for a couple bucks. So represent.
We're gonna be getting one, we're out front here too, right? So you can either put it underneath the Maryland flag or the American flag, whichever one's easy.
Okay.
Whatever one you think.
Are they gonna do a pre-order for the flag for
Yes.
a higher quantity so they can
Yes.
reduce the price?
They are, they're trying to. John,
Go ahead. Yeah, just, you know,
this guy's name, Roger.
James Rogers.
James.
Roger, talk to him, put your name on the list. Okay. Put my name on the list, and hopefully they can get enough people interest that they can get a larger quantity and bring the price down.
How many would the town get? I mean, should we just wait at the police station and, how many will be more?
We already got one in the park.
We just hung
Yeah,
out,
we hung out in,
So-
one business day.
one here for town.
Hall,
Police
station,
station.
Public works out of flagpole,
No, they don't.
pulling the school out.
If you give the American, donate one to the American Legion, they probably would fly out there with their flags.
Oh, that'd be nice.
So please, at least three.
Yeah, we should do it.
I'll get with you then.
And some of the local businesses and churches, if they want to get one, it'd be awesome.
They do a nice job. Very nice job. In fact, the one that we have hanging there is wrong, It's short one star.
Right.
Right.
They got to have a start on it.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
No old business to come before the council. Matt, you have been sending their patient. Washington County Treasurer Office proposal for town taxes. Matt Green, floor is yours, sir. You're welcome. Set up front.
This is up here officially, I'll take the official chair.
There you go.
Sounds like.
Thank you for taking our time.
We didn't mean to bore you with all that other free stuff.
And I apologize, I didn't know where to come. I walked in the back door, or side door, but a couple weeks ago, that Jerry, the protege, been kicking this idea around. So by the way, a quick introduction, my name is Matt Reed, and I'm county treasurer for Washington County. And probably the first 6 months on the job, I've kind of done a study across the state of what my peers around the state do and the services they offer the citizens and the towns. I found out that Washington County is, and I'm kind of embarrassed to say this, but we are way behind the power curve in what the services offer. 18 of Maryland's 23 counties bill for the towns, for the municipalities. Only Hartford, Wycomico, Washington, and Somerset County do not bill for the towns. In 2000, the General Assembly changed the law to give the counties the authority and the ability to bill your real estate bills. I propose to do that for a number of reasons, and at no cost to the town. At no cost. And I estimate your cost per. Now, when I say cost per tax bill is about $1.10, just the materials. When I say that, my office is already printing tax bills and we distribute them to them, email, your envelopes, your staff time, your stuff. And then the time for your residents to come in, because I'm sure you have a number of residents who like to pay in person. And I deal with that for the first 3 weeks of July. It's a very arduous task. With most towns already doing, or most counties already doing this, that takes that work off your staff. Again, at no cost. I've already checked with our budget finance department and our IT experts. We have all the municipal codes that we can load into our Munis software. I believe we use Munis here, I believe.
No.
You don't just talk about that. We will be loading that in, and simply we just be adding a little bit of toner to our current bill, change the bill format to collect the property taxes. Maryland law requires that I or the county reimburse the town by the 10th of the month, every month. I don't think that's generous enough, especially for the months of July and December, the big heavy tax months. In my proposal, I've allocated that this is possible through the county, that we could do it weekly. And I think that's only necessary because that's the prime months for the income coming in. Not just stopping. So that's my proposal, is to totally take this over the tax rate or cost free to bill it. It takes the foot traffic away from your customers coming in and your state being tied up. And I know a lot of taxpayers, talk to them, I engage with them, like the idea of paying a person. And I would offer to you that the same person that walks into your town office to pay your tax bill comes to Hagerstown and walks in mine. So you still get that same satisfaction. Where I think this really does and helps you on this tax sale time. Your office sends me your list of properties that have to be adopted into the county's program for the tax sales. And that's an arduous task for my office. We adopted 343 counties on a Friday night. And my staff worked from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. adopting those into
from all the municipalities around the county. County employees, there's no system for me to reimburse them for overtime. It's a flex time schedule that does not officially exist. Because I'm an elected official, I get a little bit of flex time and ability of how I manage my staff. So I give them that time off, but that really doesn't exist, but that's within my authority to do that. It's an unnecessary burden. By us adopting and billing, I'm already going to know who those property owners when I bill them every month, and I will know every month who's behind. We will also take care of the responsibility of mailing out the reminder notices for you at no cost. So I think it's something that we can do for you, it reduces the workload on your staff. And this is very humbling sitting here tonight to listen to all departments and all the things you've got going on, just how busy this town is. So I think this is a service that I should be providing, the town should be providing to the town. I don't see a downside. I do not see a downside. I've approached a couple towns, staff, not elected officials, and like expressed no interest in embracing this concept. Then it kind of hit me that they're not the decision makers, the elected officials are. So I will be appealing to all the elected officials in all of our municipalities. Frederick County bills for 12 out of 12. If they can bill for their municipalities in Frederick City, I'm sure as heck can do it for all mine here. And I promise you efficiency.
Oh, I'll wait till you're done. I'm questioning.
No, no.
So
Yes, you do.
if Boonesboro's the only town that signs on, are we still willing to do it, or everybody's got to sign? Because I know Todd and Hershey, the former treasurer, tried it before, but Hagerstown wouldn't sign on, thus it fell through. It didn't.
This is being recorded, right?
It sure is.
Because my plan is to go around and I'm in Keys, go in Sharpsburg next month, and then Hancock. And my plan is, and I'm going to go on record and say this, once I do, I plan on getting hold of Ms. Tamara Baker at Herald Mail and going on and saying, the county is offering this to the taxpayers of the towns at a cost savings.
Right.
And those that
Before you
don't,
need it here. Yeah.
Right.
So it doesn't have to be an all or none.
Allegheny County bills for 407. Talbot County bills for, they don't have Easton. They have I think they have bill for 4 or 5. So it's not an all or nothing, but anything we gain in. I cannot imagine the citizen of any town realizes the convenience of being able to use the county's website to go on to view, print, and pay the bill online, use our payment modalities that we have, the convenience that it offers. Why they wouldn't be jumping up and down to their elected officials to say, I want this, let alone the cost savings.
So question, will they get one bill or two, or you have a bucket for it? So
One.
the bill would have the county and town. So then the person would have to pay, they wouldn't be able to pay like their town taxes and then 2 months later pay their county, or would they?
Thank you for asking that question. Okay,
Yeah, because they have that flexibility now.
I have some sample bills, and this is a property.
Okay.
This is a property that my wife and I used to, we sold it, and I didn't want to put the new owner's name on it. None of this information is confidential, but I have an example of what I propose the new bill to look like. I mean, the county already collects for the state taxes.
Right.
Right.
So why not state, county, local?
Right.
And I have a proposal of what it should look like.
And so when a house is sold, they would just simply be contacting the county treasurer to get payouts from both, right?
Yes, and not that is concerning the county, but I think you're gonna like that particular thing, since I moved to the.
So when there's foreclosures on homes, they won't be calling us, they'll be calling your old office.
Exactly. And I'm right next to the circuit court anyway.
By the way, Brian's already been talked to about this, and he's in favor of it, correct? Yeah.
So that's what I envision the next year's tax bill looking like.
Okay, next question, which did just, blew from my brain. So, okay, so I see where you're breaking that out. So it doesn't say where they could pay
Oh, great
like
question,
part,
great
like,
question.
so,
I'm
like
sorry.
if I wanted, you know what I mean? Because sometimes paying their town taxes and their county taxes all at once is a huge chunk. So I just want to pay, a portion of it.
Let me give you a scenario
Okay.
there.
Okay,
And one of the towns objected because they bill in September.
right. Oh, I know what my question was too. Yeah.
Well, I get the question. One of the towns objected, they said, well, our taxpayers are very, economically stressed in this area. The idea that they have to pay a bill in July and pay the town taxes at that time, and then the September
Right,
comes all
right.
spreads it out. Well, okay, but that's counterintuitive to the way the county bills. If you go online, you see your tax bill, total combined is $1,650, and you go online, and say, pay my bill, you enter the dollar amount you want to pay. If it's $200, and I take those payments all the time.
So we can do
So
installments.
they can-
Absolutely.
That's something we kind of don't offer
Right. now
as
we
a
don't.
town.
We do that all the time.
The interest, who gets the interest? Is that your fee for doing it? That was my service.
Well, that's a
Starting
great
October
question, because
one.
that's a
We can
sliding
get a portion
scale.
of that.
That's a sliding scale.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I mean, you gotta be, you know.
it's not a sliding scale per se, but every town deals with a different financial institution and different interest rates. So that is something that I've asked the budget and finance people to look into, and that's a great question. Of building that formula and put it in access for each town, your interest rate with, say, Bank with Middletown.
Oh,
and
not
somebody
that
else.
interest rate. So somebody doesn't pay their taxes till November, so they've got an assessed a late fee.
Oh, okay,
So
that would have to be divided up.
so would that get divided up? Okay.
Absolutely.
So then how about like credit cards? Because people who pay by credit card, that you upcharge
won't
that
see
like
that.
we do.
It says credit card fee.
So they'll get
Well,
upcharged.
the
So
credit card
nobody's
fee, the
eating
credit
that
card fee, the
year.
county does not
Okay,
realize, that's why.
okay. So we upcharge like.
Now, I am going to be making a proposal, I've talked to a couple of commissioners offline. Right now, the fee for an e-check or ACH payment is $2. I am going to be asking the commissioners, and it's going to be public knowledge now, but to absorb that for those that will go online and pay their own. I don't think they should have to pay a fee to pay their taxes. Now, the other side of that is I'm going to be asking them to assess a fee to give me the authority to bill for $5 if I have to do that with a phone call. City of Hagerstown charges $7 for that. I've got my staff is the same in my office it was in 1980. I had the same number of people with an increase of 31% in the accounts. And I'm overworked. Taking this mission on for the towns lessens my staff work. It really does give me less work on taxation. And Mary Lee, you've been there for the taxation.
Yeah.
And by the way, great job. This year, your business sold 85% of our properties, last year 79%. So we really appreciate that. And that's my job, is to get those properties sold or the taxes collected. And that's the enforcement measure I have. I'd like to point out also that we are already, the county is already doing some of this for the light authority in Lawrenceville or Chooseville. And then you have your own light district down there. That appears on the county tax bill now.
Right.
And we're already doing this. So this is not something brand new. And by the way, you might pay your property taxes and everything paid up, but you don't pay your light bill in Lawrenceville or Chooseville. We're selling the property to collect that $13. You know, so we have the enforcement arm to get this done. You know, what other questions? I mean,
Yeah, the other thing, I think you'll have to add the town tax rates on them, you know, or
Okay.
the county tax rate on the rate, probably.
Well,
County municipality rate.
I thought I did that for Hagerstown. I thought I did all this.
Yeah, I saw over here it's 0.8929, so that's not everything.
This is just our, this is
Yeah.
Rough draft.
Yeah.
rough draft.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And I
that's-
chose to use
yeah.
that particular city as an example on this.
Has any other municipalities signed up yet?
Well, I will tell you, the town of Sharpsburg, the mayor and the vice mayor said, we want to be the program for this, and we wanted, and I hadn't even talked to them in this forum. They're like, sign us up, we're ready for it. And I'm still going to formalize it in this setting for each town.
So do you think this would start tax year next year?
Absolutely. And I've got time to implement it.
So an older resident that's used to coming in here and paying, they can't come here and pay any longer.
No, I was gonna say, that might be the only, but it's not gonna keep.
You want to get right for that.
Yeah.
Well, as I said earlier, though, I would present to you that that same taxpayer that wants to walk here and pay his
Has
town
to go to
taxes,
county.
wants to go to the county and do it.
And he's gonna go to the county pay, that's what you're saying.
If that
They're
happens,
gonna
it's
pay
gonna pay it all.
Yeah, so they're gonna just.
It's all at one time, it's one receipt. and
Yeah,
it's
it's
happy.
one shop stop that way. so
I mean,
it-
I wouldn't be opposed if somebody wants to bring us a check, we taking it, writing a receipt and forwarding it to the county as a favor.
And that's a good point, because I do that for the city now all the time. I'm walking down to the city once a week with a stack of stuff that people leave there for that. So, yeah, I think we're all in this business together, so. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm 100% for it. I mean.
Oh, yeah, it's a money saver for us. It's
Yeah, I mean,
time
got a
saver.
motion.
I will make a motion that
We're
we
one of the few
accept.
towns that does have software to facilitate letting them do that, and that has a significant cost to it.
And I will say this, we're also looking at a couple other options, and we're working with other pay modalities. Venmo, PayPal, other options where people can pay a number of ways. Eventually, through the course of my term, I hope to have a QR code on the tax bill. And if the person wants to pay their property taxes, they're putting their phone to the tax bill, I hope to get to that. I'm talking to another organization about the idea of maybe even having some kiosk around the county. And one of the concerns has been security.
Safety, right, yeah.
And I said, well, let's put them in libraries, and since the county already owns the libraries, and the county already owns the networks in the libraries, let's put one in Hancock, and one in Boonesboro, and one in Smithburg. So these are things that I think we can do to better serve our community.
And if someone has a mortgage with an escrow, none of that's gonna change either.
Nope,
No,
they pay
what
directly.
is the young man you introduced me to the other day?
Right.
And we talked at length about some of these escrow companies, one particular, CoreLogic. That takes off, I can't tell you how much time you're gonna not spend on the phone by not having to deal with that anymore.
Well, plus one of our biggest problems is when people buy a home in town and they call and get mortgage, they put the county tax in it and not the town, and then thus they end up at tax sale because they don't understand they owe two bills.
And I am doing, with this in mind, I've talked to, I've got a long spreadsheet of all the things the other counties are doing that we're not doing. This is just one of the first step that I'm trying to do. I mean, I'm already selling the properties at the tax sale for you. It just seems logical that if I have to track that and manage all that, I should collect it. And without being one county certified this year, this is really what started this for me, certified to me that this property's taxes were not paid to the town. Certified, we added it, only to find out the taxes were paid in March. And the problem is with that, it's not an embarrassment to the town, it's an embarrassment to my office.
Right.
And I can't have that again. That's the first time, and that's the last time it's gonna happen.
So yeah, my motion still stands, Mr. Mayor, as we move forward with the implementation of the treasurer's office billing and collecting taxes.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Question I had was unrelated, but what happened with the post office debacle this year? People never got their bills.
We're still on camera, right?
Yeah.
We are.
I literally just got mine like a week ago. Yeah.
I wrote so many personal letters to people. Let me give you, for instance, July 17th. We started getting some, was it, no, I take it back. February, it was February 17th, we got a whole stack of payments dated July 17th of last year. I
Wow.
wrote each one of those persons, each one of those taxpayers, a personal letter, and we waived all their fees back to July. But I handwrote each one with Congressman David Train's information and recommended that they contact the congressman for this poor service. Now, if you live in Keedysville, Royersville, Sharpsburg, and a lot of it was Boonesboro, on June the 30th in the afternoon at 4:30, myself and the company that stuffed all the envelopes, we took over 57,000 pieces of mail to the Hagerstown Post Office with a check for $27,000 to mail. Everything goes to Baltimore to get sorted. I start getting phone calls, one after another for Sharpsburg and Keysburg, Royersville, and Boonesboro, people out getting their tax bills. On some of the post offices, you can look in and go on the board, you'll see a form I made up, show people how to go online to get it. I know the mayor of Sharpsburg and the postmaster down there were talking about it, even on Facebook, of the effort we were doing to get it out. So we called the Baltimore post office and we tickled them and we nudged them and we tickled them and nudged them. And I'll guarantee you, if you want to just got your tax bill, I'll guarantee there's not a postmark on the envelope.
I can get it at the house.
Because that's what we found when they started showing up. When we nudged the Baltimore Sort Center, they started showing up. And in each case, when I spoke to each one of those taxpayers, we found that they weren't postmarked.
They didn't want to be crucified.
Well, I knew I didn't get it. I called your office. They emailed it to me. I wrote the check and drew it up there the same day.
Oh, you're one of those ones coming in.
It's fine.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Chief, I wanted to not have to.
That's been a real problem for South County. It really was this year.
Thank
And,
you.
and I hope to eliminate, and by the way, we're only mailing out one tax bill, we get rats, not two.
I never did get mine, I'm at the Roseville.
You can download it on the website.
Yeah, my wife got over there and took care of it. She called up somebody up there, gave her information stuff. I might never be.
We try to be as responsive as we could. I mean,
You're not the post office.
No, in fact, I actually tried to get it in the newspaper, but like, let's get this message out. Here's the problem, is the newspaper has a circulation of 19,000 in the county, and one third of them don't live in Maryland.
Don't y'all pay taxes with chickens or something down there in Warrenville?
Yeah.
So the other thing I would maybe ask is there a way to get, I guess what we need to know on an accounting basis is, well, it's still our revenue bills and then our AR. So I'm gonna at least need to know on a monthly basis where we add, on for our accounting, our auditing stats, what AR we have, outstanding paid.
I mean, we're obviously.
Like our check will have to know how much is interest, how much is discount, and we know where we're at.
We're pretty good about that. I mean, I know we're gonna have to establish some new procedures along the way and policies. I don't even know if this is gonna require, but I suspect it probably will, some type of MOU.
Okay.
I almost think we'd almost want to memorialize this somehow, what my office's responsibilities are versus, make sure we have the deliverables and we do what we say we're gonna do.
Here we got a motion and a second on the floor. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, abstain, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you like these back?
Nothing personal there.
Take that sharp.
Thank you.
Does, anybody else have anything for department heads or can they,
I'll just look there for the next one.
Well, his is the next thing anyhow, so.
Yeah. Request for proposal for snow plowing and sidewalks, winter 2023, 2024.
So this is the same RFP that we put out every year for Greg, for the assistance with the street clearing and sidewalk clearing when we have a huge snow event. And it's too much for the guys to handle.
Motion to go ahead and give
Motion.
permission for the, out for request for proposal.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Mayor, I'm sorry, can we put that out for 2 years, like we do the Grace Mowing? The same people bid on it every year, because nobody,
So add like a ability to extend it
Extend.
for.
but Tanning is the only one that bids on
Extend a
it.
year.
Yeah,
Okay.
the same people, same person bids on it, because they're not guaranteed to come in at every single snowstorm, so nobody else has to do it. So every snowstorm, we don't call, I don't call them unless it gets bad, and we're plowing snow for 2 days, and we don't have nobody to leave us.
So we want to amend that
You got
to
it.
include a second year then?
Second year.
Or get the ability to extend. like,
Yeah.
they're not
Is
necessarily-
there anybody on the county or the state's pre-bid, pre-qualification list that you've used that you can also go to?
There is, but they all use CDL dump trucks, they're,
Okay.
we
so
actually,
nobody-
we use small little pickup trucks. They don't do no salting for us at all, we do all the salting. If I need them, they'll pick up a little
So it'd
valve.
be 1 year, Kim, with a 1 year, with a 1 year option or a second year option?
Yeah.
How do you want to word it?
We do it for a grass mow.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Good idea.
Yeah. So who made the motion?
I will, I'm second.
You want to amend that motion to,
I amend the motion.
okay, second, okay, too?
Yes.
We have a motion, a second, to put this out for RFP with an option for a second year. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, the same, abstain, motion.
Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
I'm gonna leave that there for Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's still there. It probably will be. 3+1 PSA investment company discussion. Jared?
Yeah, just, this is gonna be brief. I just, I wanted to, just put this on the list, and, we sent out also some attachments. I don't know if they were on the email or not. This is just a company that, I discussed, their services with at the Mako conference. They were attending that. And I think it's just a good idea to discuss some of these investment possibilities for the town. So in a nutshell, what they will do is just come in and help us to better invest some of our assets to basically, what it sounds like, to get us better rates on some things and invest a little bit better with what we have. Again, this is not, I'm not gonna go into any details about this. I just wanted you to look at this, at the information that they sent. If it is something that the town is interested in and wants some additional information on, I would ask them to come discuss it with the council. But I do just, I was really pleased with talking with them, with the services that they offer. And I think it's a good idea to at least entertain the possibility and to look into it a little more anyway. So again, I'm not gonna really go into too much more detail, other than just I wanted to provide you with that information. And if it is something that you as the council would love to pursue, at least more information on, I'll get them to come and discuss with us.
Yeah, look it over, council, and read over, if you got any questions, give Jared a call. We will invite him up to one of our workshops, to go into more detail on them. You ever heard of them, Drew?
I've never heard of it.
This is the first year that they were at MML.
Mako.
I mean, Mako, they were at
Mako.
Oh, okay, they were Mako. They must be pretty good. They Mako invited them to have a booth.
Yeah, they seem like they are a good company for a small town. So,
Look it over.
our presentation for- Yeah.
Go over and think about it, let Jared know, and we'll have him come to one of our workshops. And let's give us some more information in detail. Okay. And donation request for bids for middle school 11th annual Warrior Walk. They're asking for a donation of $100. And if we give to them by Friday, September the 27th, they'll put our name on the back of their T-shirts as a sponsor of their Warrior Walk. Surprising enough, it's not on this sheet, but the person that you send your check back to, you send it to, oh yeah, it's on the back. Heather Slaw.
Heather's doing it this year.
It's to raise money to help the kids and the PTA.
They do a warrior walk.
Yeah.
What do we have left on our donations for the year?
Did you look? I didn't.
I did not look, but we haven't used our thousand yet.
No, they're still
We're
printing.
good.
I'll make a motion, we donate $100 to the Warrior Walk.
I'll second that.
We have a motion second to donate $100 to the Warrior Walk. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Can you get it done by the 22nd?
Yeah.
Because that's
We'll see our name on the back of that T-shirt.
Okay, we have a recommendation to appoint to public safety.
You can do it online.
You did it online, they got it. Cool. How long are these 4 hours, 4 days, 4
I think
years?
they're 4-year terms, but they would be serving out the remainder of the 2 people that resigned terms on
Oh,
public
okay,
safety.
so
right?
they're just to,
Or did they go new? I don't know how our
I
terms
don't-
work on public safety.
I don't know.
Marilyn, who resigned?
Greg Seymour and Brian. We have 2 of them.
so we're replacing those 2 with Teresa Lazier and Robert Acton for however many years that are left in those terms. How's that sound?
Works for me.
I will look that up.
Do I have a motion?
So I'll make a motion to appoint Teresa Lazier and Robert Ecton to fulfill the remaining terms of Brian Smith and Greg Seymour to the Public Safety Commission.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Not hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, abstained, motion carries. Thank you for allowing me to put on the agenda Resolution 2023-03, appointment of municipal infraction enforcement officer. I'm not going to read the whole thing through. You all probably had a chance to read it. But we're giving the mayor and council's giving authority to the town manager and the town planner. Instead of having a name like we always have in the past, and then we lose that influence, this way we don't have to re-adopt this resolution every time we have a position change. This way-
Which we don't plan on doing.
No.
Which we don't plan on. We got some people now, we hope we're here for a long time. And I emphasize long. So that's the reason why we brought this forward. Do I have a motion to accept, introduce it and
Approved.
approve it? This is a resolution, we don't have to have a public hearing.
I'll make a motion that we introduce and accept resolution 2023-03 for a appointment of municipal infraction enforcement officer.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We're long.
She beat you. She beat you.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, abstained, motion carries, and the sheet's being passed around for you to sign.
So we're gonna, so with this, do you all mail out the infraction, the citation, I guess would be the right word? You mail it out?
Nod of his head.
But if you want to confront these people after you send them a couple of letters and they didn't comply and you're going to physically go there, I would suggest that.
It's gonna have one of you all,
Yeah.
your guys go.
Just in case, I mean, you never know. We had, remember the guy at the street here down on Raised Cane? And you called us, I mean, I assumed for us to go there and you all be there and confronting this person.
Just
And-
take you
and,
with us.
Yeah, we just go ahead and go along and start.
West with me those 2 days, I went to talk to those people about all those chickens.
Okay.
Back in their development. So,
Yeah.
and that helps with them standing behind you while you're talking.
Well, again, I mean, it saves you the time in case you get, you know, a bad situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Yep.
Anything else come before the council?
Anything happening?
Hearing none,
I don't know, wasn't there?
commission reports. Park board, Ricky?
Okay. They,
City chief.
oh, you got it.
Well, yeah. You'll take care of that.
All right, chief. The park board had their meeting August 23rd here. One of the, we had a guest speaker, which was Heidi Boyd, who is an assistant scoutmaster for the Boy Scout Troop 20. She requested to use the park December 1st through the 3rd for a winter camping event. It would happen near the dog park and the basketball court down there, which is also corresponds with the old time Christmas, but they actually agreed to go around and sing carols.
Do anything to get it.
So the scout, it was approved.
I'm gonna get some documents.
Can you move the compost thing?
Yeah, I don't know about all that.
That'll be gone by then, we hope.
Yeah, we probably won't stick then. On top, old time Christmas, that's ongoing. Of course, we all knew Jamie Burton was approved to be on the park board. And of course, Jeff and Greg was reappointed back on their terms. And that was it. Let's see, I think the meeting is next week, next Wednesday. Have another meeting.
Thanks, sir. Do I have any questions, Rick? Thank you, sir. BMUC, I mean,
Okay, so I missed the last mayor and council, so I have minutes from both the July and August. During our July meeting, we had a presentation.
I did.
he prepared the July.
You're all
He
new, buddy.
gave the July report for you.
At our August meeting, The wastewater treatment plant sludge and watering press, all the materials have been delivered. The groundbreaking starts the following week. We've already got an update on that. King Road Associates, no update, but I know this thing's working tomorrow. Sycamore Run, it was noted that Greg did the final walkthrough, that was complete, and the town is scheduled to take over that last section in November of 2023. Auction house sewer connection, meeting with Senator Corderman, we talked about this a little bit earlier. We know that they have to come up with some other type of a temporary solution, and there also has to be a permanent solution. What they're gonna do at this point is still being processed, and they're still looking for help from the county. And we did agree to help with grant writing. Reservoir leak update. The divers began at the reservoir on August the 14th. They found a large leak. The leak was plugged and sandbagged. There is continued monitoring ongoing, and there's also a notation that they found cracking around the perimeter. Mayor and council confirmed the reappointment of Dave Wade. Under new business, it was spoken about the joint meeting and planning to be held after the new planner is in position. He's sitting right there, so I'm sure that's gonna be, something we're gonna be doing relatively soon.
Wednesday night.
Oh.
I'll be there Wednesday night.
That's cool.
Relatively soon.
Under systems report, Pete informed that the affluent meter will need to be replaced at a cost of $3,600. We talked about that briefly. Greg reported he had a leak on August 10th down in the abandoned 6-inch water line on Boonesboro Mountain Road, which has been repaired. August the 15th, the Boonesboro Fire Department damaged a hydrant during a fire call at 8267 Old National Pike at a cost of $500 to repair. They had to order, they being the water department, 42 new meters. And our next meeting is on September the 20th.
Meter purchases in budget.
They are, but I don't think the right amount got put in, so I'm gonna have to juggle some.
It was a significant decrease from last year's budget.
I think it went from like, no, it was.
No, like, they cut money out of the budget.
They cut
So Grady,
cost of.
no, meters went up.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, I just told Greg he needs to order what he needs to order, I'll figure it out. I can't help it. You gotta have meters.
Right.
Okay, thanks. Does anybody have any questions of Tim? Hearing none, planning commission. Eric?
Yes. Good evening, everyone. It's been a big long meeting, hasn't it?
Hours for the.
So we met on August 22 last, and under old business, it was asked of me to give an update based on the notes that Riley had left. One of the newer commission members just wanted me to give an update, so I did that. We talked about the comprehensive plan. The chairman has asked for input from all the members, and that has been coming in, and Drew already mentioned the comp plan, so that's moving along. We talked about, Jared gave an update on the town planner interviews, that they had narrowed it to 2 candidates. Now,
Ta-da.
town planner,
There's one.
welcome aboard. The Mount Nebo Church subdivision, there was a question from the commission regarding density, and there was no one here at the last meeting representing the church. Mr. Harding was here the meeting before. Jared said he would reach out to Mr. Harding to follow up on that. Don't know if you've done that.
When do you meet?
Well, we did, I sent you.
You meet Wednesday?
We meet next week on Tuesday. Yeah.
PNGC's this one.
Oh, please.
So under new business, I'll see if I can get this out that it makes sense. There are 3 new entities, I'll say, requesting service. One of them is next door here, Subway. I actually invited Mr. Watson to the meeting, who owns the property, to just give us a little heads up of what he plans, and he would like to add possibly 2 additional apartments going out back. He has to work something out with Nora's property, about some window spacing and such. But I leaned into the topic of, well, that's at least 2 additional fixed fees. And I'm still a little confused about EDUs and such, but we're gonna talk about this in the DMUC this Wednesday night. So that was 2 requests for service. Another request, which is actually 4 requests, which is back to Mayor Lee's point, the 50 St. Paul Street subdivision. The only thing that's been approved up there, I keep stressing this, is the dividing up of the ground. There is no site plan approved. However, the developer sent in health department forms to Yvette one day to inquire about water and sewer availability. I happened to walk by, she handed them to me, I said, don't do anything with these, because this is right in our wheelhouse about how many taps are available. So I still have the forms, I assume she's got nothing with them, I asked her not to. No one left me in charge, but I just took them, and I said, well, forget that. So that was 4 more requests for service. Again, I think they have that a little out of whack, me not understanding planning and zoning, but they approved the subdivision, the dividing up of the ground, no site plans approved. Why are they even asking about water and sewer?
Well, I guess they want to know if they can build a house. If you don't have water and sewer, they can't build a house.
They're getting ahead of themselves.
Yeah.
So that's 6 requests for service. The 7th and final request was, there was a gentleman, Mr. Dixon. He looked familiar, like I might have seen him at Legion. 621 North Main, just up this way a little bit from AT&T. He is requesting to build a garage in his backyard with a possible living quarters overhead with a bathroom in it and that sort of thing. So again, we get on the whole discussion of, well, that's at least a fixed fee. Is it a tap fee? Is it an EDU? What the heck is it? You know, we have to get a handle on this. So when I get on that subject, he kind of backed off and didn't know what he even wanted to do. So he's going to get back to us.
I can update you a little bit.
Okay.
He actually came back in, well, he's come back in twice now. He came back in today. His plan now is to take the whole top level off, so there'll be no bathroom.
Okay.
But I wanted you to finish that because the issue is still the same. And Drew and I talked about this earlier today. We actually met about it this morning. We're going to come up with a formal way to go about this process. We've talked about this, but we've actually, now that I have a plan on board, we're actually doing it. So we will come up with a formal process as to which commission or board things need to go to first and in what order for people that want to come to town and subdivide or do something like this where they're just tapping into our system. We need a formal plan for that. We don't have one currently. I'm not sure why we don't. It can be very confusing, especially if you don't know which flow. So that's what we're working on. We just talked about that this morning. But as far as that particular one is concerned, it's really good on it. It sounds like he's going to be.
Well, so that's all I had on my notes.
So now I do have a question, because when he's having a garage or something, is he in just residential zoning out there, or is he commercial residential? Because I just wondered.
He's suburban residential.
Okay.
He's allowed to have a detached structure, that's in your
Yeah, but you can't
code,
run a business out of
but he's got to meet certain setback requirements, which he can do.
it. Okay.
I've looked at, he's right there at that opening where Weiss has that right of way.
Yeah.
His house is the one with the red roof.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, if he was gonna build the thing he was talking about, it was huge.
Yeah.
It was as big as the house,
Okay.
but he was in compliance. As long as the detached structure isn't taller than 20 feet, and it wasn't, as long as it can meet the setback requirements, plus he's got another shed on there too.
So you guys go over all that?
Oh yeah, I go out and meet with them, and I go out and look at them, I look what's going on, and I usually come in and I bother Kim and I bother Yvette. Is there one of the things I asked this morning was, are there any restrictions anywhere in a code that anybody knows about limiting the number of detached structures you can have on a residential property?
Gotcha.
There aren't. So you could have,
They're not in the county or anything? Okay.
no, there's not. Now, if you want to put something in, that's a decision for the town council and the
Yeah.
planning commission to discuss. But right now, you can keep putting structures in as long as you can meet the setback requirements. You could have 10 buildings, 5 buildings, 3 buildings. as long as you're meeting the height requirement and the other.
Right.
I mean, but that's something for you all to consider.
Hasn't been about the house.
No. So my other question, I didn't actually think about this, but what about the other property on Potomac Street? Has that been through any process?
That I was going to bring up in the BWC meeting. Let me, hold on that for a second. Let me go back to Mr. Dixon for a minute. What he was missing was any electronic media. He just provided drawings. I actually called the company in Arizona and asked, could I get electronic copies to bring to the meeting? And they said the client would have to call. And then when a couple of the guys that know more about this than me looked at the plans, they said this is actually just sort of stock copies. He just kind of picked something. So that's kind of where Mr. Dixon was on that. But I wanted to bring up in the BMUC, not only these three, but yes, the two on Potomac Street, all these things, as you know, Tony, as Colin knows, we've all talked about it. None of them is one size fits all.
Correct.
The place on Potomac Street has 2 meters already. So they're already paying fixed fees, I assume.
I was gonna say, you have to qualify that with, because I don't have the answer to
But
that.
we need to have a discussion, and Jared knows this, and he's moving in the right direction. We need to talk about when do they get another fixed fee versus an EDU versus 1 meter? To me, that all matters, even if you're going to rent apartments, maybe 1 meter's okay. Maybe 1 EDU's okay. I don't know, but we gotta get something in writing because we're not consistent at all right now. We're just doing these things case by case and we're gonna get in trouble. So I wanna talk about that a little more in the BMUC this Wednesday evening. I actually got a little spreadsheet, nothing fancy to hand out with many of these recent things on, just to show how we've been.
Well, and it just keeps muddying the waters because we already went through this new evaluation, if you will, fixed fees and EDUs. And now here we are, not even a year later, implementing that, and then we're starting to muddy the waters again.
Well, I think we'll have a good meeting Wednesday night, and we can all kind of look together where we're at with these different, none of them are plain vanilla. I think the plainest vanilla one is the 2 on Potomac Street, where there's already meters, 2 meters there. And
I was told there were 2 crocs. 2 crocs and 2 meters are 2 different things.
Okay, I was told 2 meters.
I'm just saying, I don't know what I don't know, but I just, we need to narrow it down. We need to find out what we don't know.
Well, at least the first thing we need to flip and list.
Yeah.
And I've tried to make the list, maybe not all inclusive. I mean, you have Battlefield Estates, you have H&H down the street here, a couple of blue.
Right, yeah,
Hall. You have the thing that you mentioned.
Over here.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. We're just all over the map with these things. We really are. And so,
All right.
so anyway, that's all I had. So
Well, thank you, sir. Anybody have any questions of Eric?
did it confuse you guys?
No, you and I have had these conversations quite extensively, so I'm on board. I got you.
Clear as mud, right, Colin?
Clear as mud.
Public safety, Mary Lee.
I apologize because I had to work last month's meeting and Chief wasn't there either, so I do not have minutes to know what happened. Other than I was instructed to get members filled appointments, and we do meet this Thursday, so. We'll be better at it next
Clean
month.
this up.
Mhm.
EDC, right?
Yeah, no formal meeting since our last council meeting. However, we did obviously the food truck rally and was a success. We have a networking meeting, networking breakfast this Thursday. All are invited at the Rural Heritage Museum in Sharpsburg. If you've never been there, it is one cool place. You got
The Ag Center, right?
yeah, the Ag Center in Sharpsburg. Jared, you're going there at 7:30 in the morning. I think you can tell the interview's true, but
I just bought tickets this evening.
The Ag Center's in
Yeah.
Jonesboro.
What's that?
The accent.
It's Rural Heritage Museum.
Boonesboro address.
Yeah, Rural Heritage Museum.
It's on the Sharpsburg Pike.
Yeah.
So you were- Pretty cool.
So anyway, really cool museum. Get a chance to look around.
Where do we stand with the Boonesboro Town Alliance getting that?
We're gonna talk about it, I guess, the next meeting. It's been 100%.
It's still on, Facebook. It's still on state, as far, I think that's what I'm saying.
Last I heard it was.
The applications,
Yeah.
At the EDC meeting, I told them, I said, we would like to very, very much as soon get that set up, so the money's out. of the
Been
account.
more than a year
Yeah.
to do that.
Money has to go into their account.
Yeah,
soon.
yeah.
So they promised me it would be done soon, so hopefully it will.
And do they still want Brian on their
Haven't
payroll?
said anything to the contrary, no. I think it's just that he does good things for them. I think they just were a little.
Does Brian still want on their payroll?
I talked to him. He does,
Good.
he's fine, yeah, he's fine with it. He just, again, he's fine with it as long as he's able to still get the work I need him to get done.
Exactly.
Be a priority.
Exactly, and so he and I have been talking. I told him to keep communication open with me if things are getting too much with that, so he said he would, so I think right now it's okay.
And this with the taxes is gonna help them out somehow, giving a few free their excuses.
Did anybody know right now whether you're gonna be coming and you told Terry?
I told Terry I was gonna be there. I haven't got my ticket yet. I gotta go online and get it.
Just tell Terry.
All right.
on to the EDC.
I'm gonna try to be there as well.
We're not, somebody else is hosting it, so you need to make sure.
Okay, thank you, sir. Environmental Commission, Terry,
Mine got canceled.
that did. Thank you. Anything else to be brought before the council?
Well, hold on. To be brief, but I just want to make sure that everybody is doing their part, that we have direct and clear communication all the time. It seems that there's a lot of confusion sometimes, that something's happening and we're not aware of it. So even if you feel like when you all have a meeting, when I say you all, I'm talking about Howard and Jared, about something that's going on, just maybe send out a weekly little update. I mean, y'all do a lot of work during the week, and then we get questions about things, or I find out about things, and I found out about the last event to show up to on Facebook. I mean, that's not fair.
Well, okay, I know what you're talking about. I got a special invitation. It was addressed to the mayor. It didn't say and council. That's why I didn't say anything to you all. I wasn't sure where you all got invited to, so that's the reason why I didn't say anything.
Well, if you're
And
not sure,
I'm
maybe
sorry.
you just should have said.
Yeah, I mean, my feelings aren't hurt. I'm just
I
saying.
apologize about that. Next time I get a special invitation someplace, I'll tell them I cannot come unless the rest of the council comes.
We didn't say that.
I didn't say that. See, that's not communicated to
That we
me.
didn't say.
Well, that goes two ways too, because the way I understand it, I'm left out on a lot of
Okay, so
correspondence.
we're gonna bring this up.
Yeah.
I heard that you thought that I sent out this email about, now just wait, about the accident in the park. I had nothing to do with that email. Ray sent it to everybody, even you. Even you were on there. So that was not me. I don't know why you got upset because you said I did it, but I did not do that.
I had a neighbor tell me that you're the one that sent the email out.
So,
And how would a neighbor even know? It went to
Because you
us
told her in
as
the
a
back.
council member.
She said you told her about it at the bank.
At a bank? I don't even go to these banks around.
well,
It
again.
doesn't matter.
But it's water over the dam. I apologize about that. Like I said, the invitation that I got with the email said, Mr. Mayor, we would like for you to be there to accept the flag. And that's all it said. It didn't say mayor and
So
council.
what did they do, right? What were they trying to?
That was a shame. They should've-
That wasn't the EDC. That was the.
That was the-
That was the museum, yeah.
Yeah,
Wouldn't even say.
that wasn't the EDC.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, I understand, it's just, Okay, so,
Because I wasn't invited.
well, exactly, I went, Terry went.
And I
but
called
anyway.
you up.
It's our town flag.
We all should have been like.
Yeah, but you have to take up the historical society.
Okay, well, we-
Now, when I get a special invitation, I'll make
You
sure
might
you all
do
get there.
Perfect, just, yeah, if we'd something like to go, just, let us know, include. Sometimes they don't really think about the council,
Well, and sometimes when they say mayor, they might think council. They might think the whole town council. I don't
A
know.
lot of times I get invitations to mayor and council, and that way everybody gets notified. But I didn't know where you all got a special invitation like I did, so I apologize. It won't happen again.
My feelings didn't get hurt, I'm just saying.
Apparently it did.
If I don't communicate it, how would you all know?
Well, that's the whole thing. Communication around here is not just.
Communication is paramount.
But what I used to do, I sound like the old guy now. Every Monday morning, I would send out just a brief email of highlights of things that were happening this week, or things that happened last week. If anything that you feel is a highlight that you should know, if you wanted to send
If you guys
out.
would like a brief weekly update, I have no problem doing it.
Well, that would
Send out a
be-
bullet.
We don't really spend a lot of time.
It's like a 5 minute, yeah.
Council, like we do want to know where we stand with the camper. Yeah.
That's not a request that's out of the ordinary, that's fine. I have no problem doing that.
There you go.
unless it's something that, I mean, that now, you get things that are exclusively for the mayor. We're not by, and I get that. I mean, other than that, just, let us know, because, I think it's good when most of the council shows up to support town government and things like that, whenever you can, unless it's exclusive.
It is true that I happen to be the old retired guy, and I stumble into the office more than people love you because I'm retired.
Literally.
And, yeah.
He'll be using a walker.
He found his way up to my office, I can tell you that.
Hey, true, 57 days, I'm gonna be retired, so look out.
All right.
I will run up those steps though.
There you go.
So Adam. Yes, you can make a motion.
You won't hear me running, my legs are too tall. I take one step at a time.
If you hear Howard running, somebody's chasing him.
But you must know you're a major award winner, doesn't he?
I'll bring my, I'll wear my medal next week.
Okay.
So
May I make a motion to adjourn?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, I have a question.
so Drew indicated he's coming to the BMUC.
I heard that.
tonight. That's wonderful. And I think this is all under this communication heading. If he would continue to do that, or however, there are things, but that and the Boone Keysville Water Board, the more we all hear, the better it is. Because a lot of stuff just, happens.
Yeah, and the water board is back to the regular meetings, they only meet quarterly. We were having a lot of meetings there for a while.
Whatever's needed.
This time works and
We've already talked about that also, we talked about that this morning, so.
You guys are on it.
Yeah,
for more information.
we're fully staffed now, and we're fully staffed.
Hold on. Tony has a repair bill to pay.
It's back. I put it back. I put it back.
We have a full staff now, and we're staffed with very, very well competent employees.
Amen.
In all categories, inside and outside. Keep it that way.
Way out, guys, over there. Great.
Who brought him in?
Me.
Crystal Creams.
Terry and I are jointly making a motion to adjourn.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
He's got a vote right here.
We have a motion and a second. To adjourn. Any other further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say same. Abstain, motion carries.